Hello again, this is Ben Hitchcock Cross talking today about Milwaukee Public Schools. So this is definitely going to be some inside baseball, some Milwaukee talk here. So everybody's welcome, but just so you know, there may be some gaps that you're like, who are these people that Ben's referring to without reference? And that's going to be because they're Milwaukee, famous in Milwaukee, as we like to say. So what happened of news is that the Milwaukee Public School Board reinstated, sort of out of nowhere and for no reason, the superintendent, Posley. I believe they gave him some kind of raise and extended his contract another 2 years, really just as a slap in the face, a punch in the gut, to whistleblowers, to all of the people who have come together to oppose Posley. And what does that mean, by the way? That means that in exchange for whatever certain factions and also the Milwaukee Teachers Association, the teachers union wants, Posley is allowed to systematically torture and abuse and be corrupt, from what I can see. And that causes a significant problem for the people that work there. But there's a catch, because unlike, the prisoners and unlike the employees and unlike everybody else, there are students who are in this superintendent's care, who are in this administration's care, who are in this board's care, that must be there, have no choice, and yet have no recourse against these actions by the board and Posley. I mean, we call it Posleyism for a reason, which is, violence in defense of ignorance. That's what it is. But that's somewhat to distract the people that enable him, and that's my point here, is to draw a line in the sand that this board is at war with the children of the city of Milwaukee. That is my message here today. The Milwaukee Public School Board is at war with the children of the city of Milwaukee, and they don't care what are the consequences to the children. For example, they are absolutely willing to ignore any issue raised by Debbie Keither, for example, but many others. They are more than willing to ignore sexual harassment, fraud, assault, just systematic violence, racism, discrimination on sex grounds, discrimination on race grounds, racism, bullying towards students, systematic failure of the students, moldy food, rats in the buildings, and one could go on. But and I think most importantly, what they aren't willing to do is put their own specific children, because many of these board members have children who are in the premier schools of the district. But they don't go to the schools with the moldy food. They don't go to the schools with the rats. And that, I think, is the most important thing here for all of anybody who's out there supporting this board, is how is that possible that there's some schools with no rats and some schools with rats? Is that intentional? How is it that some principals are making $138,000? How's that possible? Who are those principals connected to, and why do they have ties to the superintendent? What are those ties? $138,000 is a significant amount of taxpayer money, because we're also including benefits and so forth. I mean, the last documented salary I saw for the superintendent is $270-some thousand. That's a lot of work for a person who seems to be only concerned with retaliating against people who bring to light his incompetence. That's seriously, when you look at the outcomes of the children of the city of Milwaukee, it's nothing to get excited about. I mean, you would fire somebody in that situation, certainly wouldn't give them more time and more money That seems to be not only just madness, it's a declaration of war. So we also noticed, I think, that the clerk, Jackie Mann, was not renewed like Posley was yesterday, on Tuesday. And I think that's significant. Whatever's going on there, we hope that Miss Mann is soon in a position that she can explain to the world what exactly is going on there. Because to my mind, it still seems like Bob Peterson is still on the board. It still seems like so many of the forces that we thought we had removed, Larry Miller, for example, are still there running the show. And again, the number one consequence of that, whatever it is Posleyism. Right? Whatever the Bob Peterson agenda is, who knows? I mean, I remember in the 80s, it was anti-nuclear war. I don't see that happening now. It's discrimination. I don't know what it nominally is. It was never very clear. But whatever it is, the number one byproduct of it is Posleyism, which, remember, is violence in defense of ignorance. So that really is the thing. I mean, it's the board is being bought off by the administration, who's being allowed to be. The board is the one who's in charge, and that's the fact. So we need to examine that, and we need to accurately say what this extension of Posley's contract is. Not only a slap in the face to all the whistleblowers, to all of the MPSU fraud victims, to all of the adults, but also the pupils who, remember, have no choice to be there, who are in their care and yet are being failed time and time again. Well, some of them most of them, we can say, are being failed, but not all. And to me, that's one of the most disgusting things here. So, whenever a board member tells you to remember the children or tries to pull on your heartstrings, you just remember what they did there on Tuesday, because I think it's a real strike against the city of Milwaukee, and many people are going to have to work even harder to continue to undo the damage of this board. So stick with us. We'll keep you informed, just like Darius will remember to tell you, remember the MPS. Take care.